Okay, welcome everyone to the EBC meetup. Today we're going to be featuring Mary Kamp and her company, Epic Business Brokers. I'm going to read her bio first so we can have a proper introduction, but we're very excited to learn about this company and appreciate you taking a look at it. Mary Kamp Cesarado is President and Director of Merger and Acquisitions with Epic Business Brokers. Mary has appraised a wide variety of companies and completed over $25 million in closing transactions. She has over 100 class hours in financial and brokerage services. Mary is a real estate broker and a certified real estate instructor. She developed and teaches Trek MCE courses and buying and selling businesses. She is also the founder of Real Estate Licensing Academy. Her career began with Xerox as a systems analyst. After leaving Xerox, she started numerous companies in a wide variety of industries ranging from entertainment field to the business brokering industry. In 2003, she began her career in selling businesses. By leveraging her background as a systems analyst and her experiences in owning and operating her own business, Mary has unique strengths that she brings to her clients. Mary is currently president of the Texas Association of Business Brokers. On a more personal note, Mary currently volunteers as a board member of the Chris Samaritan and Gateway to Care organizations. She enjoys writing music, golfing, and attending Unity. She currently resides in the Heights area with her husband, Joe. Let's give a big welcome to Mary Kamp Cesarado. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. So I want to start out with a little story, and it's related to business brokerage. My husband has an uncle, and him and his wife have been married for 50 years. And so he's reminiscing a little bit about, their times together. And he's telling her, remember, Ethel, our first 10 years together, we were so poor, and we just had that mattress to sleep on, and you were right there by my side. And then, the second 20 years, we had the farm, and we had that bad drought, and you were always there right by my side. And then remember when that time I shot my foot, I had that gun and I shot my foot, and you just stayed right there by my side. And last year I had this heart attack, and I look over and you're taking care of me and you're just always there. And Ethel, I just have one thing to say to you. You are really bad luck. How this relates to business brokerage. Most business owners feel that when a business broker comes around, they are just bad luck. At one point in time, their business was worth $1 million. But then this business broker comes along and he or she is telling them, no, not quite. We're talking maybe 200, 300,000. And so what this presentation is going to give you is some key tips on how to maximize the value of your business. So whether you're looking at selling tomorrow, 5 years from now, or 20 years from now, hopefully these valuable tools will allow you to maximize your business. These tools that I'm talking about have been used successfully. I had a landscapes company. They started with $50,000. In 5 years, they went to $9 million. They used these tips and these tools. I had a daycare. I sold this daycare to an individual for $85,000. 3 years later, we sold the same daycare for $385,000. They are very simple tips, but they work. So what is the first tip? What is the first tool? Perception is reality. How many of you think a first impression is important? Quite a few of you, yes. And what scientific findings have discovered is that a lot of times you are correct in your first impression. In a business environment, perception is very important. You need to have your business neat, keep your equipment, keep your desk organized. Have that business look appropriate for your business. How many of you would use a house cleaning service if you saw their vehicle filthy, inside of it with trash? Not so many. How many of you would use a carpet cleaning company in the same situation if you walked into their office and their carpets were filthy? I sold a fastener company, and this place was horrible, horrible. You had to walk over trash, walk over cigarette butts. To get to the actual fasteners, you have to walk over the boxes. It was absolutely a wreck. I had another business broker compliment me because he said, I never thought anyone could sell this fastener company. We did end up selling it, but he took a huge loss. He could have gotten quite a bit more money for his business if he had just cleaned it up. So the first key is perception is reality. What is the second key? The second key is to put processes and procedures in place. Document, and do more documentation. Document every process and procedure in place. If I can tell a buyer that we have manuals on training, on safety, on how the secretary answers the phone, that is going to make that company more valuable. As Peter Drucker said, there is nothing as useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. So document, and make sure that what your document is a key component of your business. There was a very successful company. They're still out there. I don't know if you've heard of them. A lot of gentlemen here, so maybe not. It was the Lash Company. She started out individually, and she said from the very first moment she started her company, she documented every process and procedure. So again, the second key, put processes and procedures in place. This is a fun key. Go on vacation, okay? Your business should run without you. Your business, the value of your business should not be based on how valuable you are. I have a very difficult time when I'm trying to sell a business and the seller goes on about how he has gotten the clients and he knows how to do the bidding, and this company could not do without him, and he cannot take off for a single vacation day because he is so needed in that company. Who wants to buy that company? No one, because they are actually buying that individual seller. The landscape company I was talking to you earlier about, they had a very good management team. They had 25 employees. They ran the company as if it were a corporate company. They took the employees out on outings. They had 3 managers in place. The managers reported to a vice president, who then reported to the owners of the company. So they could go on vacation. They actually had a place in Colorado that they went on vacation. So again, you want to be able to go on vacation. You want to be able to have that business work without you. That is the #1 key component of what buyers are looking for in a successful business. The 4th key, keep good books and records. If you're making money, show it. For every dollar in earnings that you show on the bottom line, you are going to get probably anywhere from 2 to 5 times that amount when you're ready to sell your business. Let's say you're not even ready to sell your business. You just want a line of credit, or you want some investors to come in and invest in your company. Having good books and records is what all of the banks and the investors and the new buyers are going to look for. So keep good books and records. And then the final key, the most important key, is have fun. Every successful business that you see, the owners have a passion for that business. They get up every morning and they are ready to go. As Confucius said, choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. And then I love this last quote because I developed it. Thank goodness it's Monday. I wake up every day and I'm looking forward to going to work. So I hope that you have a passion for your business, and my wish for you is that you get up every day and you love your work, and your work will love you. Thank you. If you'd like to receive this PowerPoint presentation, if you'll just give me your business card and I will email it to you. Thanks again. Are there any questions? I'm sorry.
So how do you reposition for a federal takeover of your industry? So from the Affordable Care Act, how would you come in and advise an insurance agent to restructure his insurance agency in that manner? Where would you begin?
You know, that's an interesting question. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just repeat the question.
Repeat the question. The question was, how would I restructure an insurance company with the Affordable Care Act?
Or insurance agency?
An insurance agency. Okay. So that is a very good question because I do not know. But as a business broker, I am not an industry expert. I don't know every industry. I've sold 2 transmission companies. I don't know where a transmission is. So what I can do is I can help them maximize the value of their company in more of generic terms. But from a specifics of how to change an insurance company, I really don't have the answer. I have a good friend that's an insurance agent, and right now he's a little bit on edge. So great question, though. Thanks. Any other questions?
What kind of person, what stage of their life, when they come to you, are they looking to buy a company? Are they very young? Are they retirement age? What's the end?
Okay, so the question was, what age do most buyers come to purchase a company? Is that correct? Okay. Right now, probably the majority of our buyers on the larger businesses are somewhere in their mid-40s to early 60s. A lot of them have come from the corporate world, or they've chosen to leave the corporate world. They have found that there's no job security in the corporate world. And the only job security that you really have is if you own your own business. You can make it successful, or you can make it not successful, but usually they choose to make it successful, and then they've developed a good retirement plan, or they may want to have their children run it, which does happen. So the majority of buyers right now are probably somewhere between 45 and the early 60s. So, good question. Thanks.
Question on documentation. For most entrepreneurs are not known for being able to document in detail. Are there any, like say, resources, Barnes & Noble, Amazon? Do you have a checklist of, like, here's the procedures you really need to have documented prior to trying to sell your business?
You know, so the question is, what documentation resources are out there in the marketplace, or do I have resources available on what should be
If
documented?
you're going from a job to a business,
Mhm.
you're not selling a job, you've got to document it.
Right.
How would you go about advising someone to start?
On documentation, the best way to start is when you are training your employees. Okay. So if you have a new employee, that's the best way to start. Everything that you tell that new employee, just write it down. And then you have an employee manual. We have an employee manual for how our receptionist answers the phone. We document every single step of everything that we do. To be honest, the reason is because I forget things. And so I can go back and look up instructions on how to get into a vertical response software program. So documentation, probably the best areas to start your documentation are with your employees. If you're in any kind of a industry that there's safety requirements, definitely safety requirements. The landscape company, those were the two areas that they started their documentation, was their employees and then their safety. And actually, to be honest with them, it was safety first. They had it outlined because 95% of their business was in the commercial arena. And so they could go back to these to the government and to these large commercial clients and say, here, look, we've got a great safety procedure set up for our employees. Does that answer your question?
But, I mean, in terms of resources, do you know if there are any?
You know, I don't know of any resources that talk about just pure documentation. There was a book written, and I cannot remember that, but it goes through the procedures of how not to run a business, that you don't want to work in the business. You want to develop the business. So, thanks. Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
So many small businesses have one set of books for their tax records, and they really don't like to show all the revenue they make. How do you encourage them to be sure and have their books accurate? But because when they're trying to sell, that's a huge factor.
And okay, so the question is, how do the books and records of some small business differ from what their actual tax return shows? And we come across that situation probably 90% of the time, that the seller may have a profit and loss statement that doesn't quite reflect their tax return. And what we do is we recast their tax return, and what we normalize it, okay? And so what normalizing allows is to show a buyer the true income that business is making. Now, and we really don't have that much of a problem except if we're trying to get a lender, because a lender will not look at a profit and loss statement. They want to see it on the tax return. But if it doesn't involve a lender, then I can pretty well take the tax return and the profit and loss and match them up and give maybe a more accurate picture for a buyer. Where the problem lies is the seller needs to be able to document those receipts that maybe he didn't expense out. So they need to document all of the expenses that maybe are not required to run the business. Some of them are very legitimate expenses, like health insurance, or if you use your automotive. Well, it's not really required to run the business, but it is a necessary expense. So what we do in that situation is we recast their financials and give the buyer a better idea of what the business is worth. All right. Thank you.
One other question.
Yes.
What is an average business that you broker go for? You know, someone wants to buy a business, is there like a range?
The question was, what is the average that a business sells for?
Well, cost, yes.
Cost to buy for a business. Most businesses, we usually typically start marketing them anywhere from 2.5 to a multiple of 5, okay, depending on the industry, okay. Now, some industries, and depending on the amount of equipment, how long they've been around, how big their client base is, okay. IBBA, the International Business Brokerage Association, statistics are, on average, most businesses sell for 1.5 times earnings. But again, that's the average. And so you take averages from businesses that have taken, sold for 0.5, to 10 times earnings. So that's the average of what a business sells for. Okay. All right. Well, thank you again. I appreciate it.